The cover letter is dead. This is the focus group.
They're all business, except when they're not. It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Focus Group. Tim Bennett here, as always, with my good friend and co-host, Mr. John T. Nash. You know, John, I was thinking, I was wondering if we should. Do I have to do all the formatics first? Thanks for joining us. It's Focus Group.
No, you could go right into it, but I was just laughing because whenever you put your thinking cap on, something comes out.
Okay, right. Yeah, go to focusgroupradio.com. You'll find all our media housed there, including our podcast, TFG Unbuttoned. I was thinking, you and I often have a big catch-up before we do the shows, before we do the recordings. And I thought you could almost have, they could be the shows. We could have two more extra episodes, but maybe not prime time. Maybe not.
Well,
maybe
wasn't
for
that your idea?
Our ears only. Maybe
wasn't your idea
no?
years ago to do the focus group after dark? It's all the stuff we talk about that we don't normally talk about on the show, right?
Well, we'd have to change our names. We should have done that years ago. We should have never done the show with our real names. That way we could have gotten away with something, right? We could have had...
What's that clip on your finger?
I'm just doing it. This is... Oh, so you'll laugh. So we had an election thing. We had a big election thing here at the house. And so there's a big election this week in Rehoboth for mayor and for commissioners. And you know Patrick's up for re-election. And... So one of the women in the neighborhood that hosted Carol, so Carol and Joyce hosted with Richard and I, and she brought over these bags of Cheetos and stuff, Cheetos and Doritos, which I never buy and I never eat. Yeah. And of course she left all these spicy nachos that I'm not a fan of spicy hot stuff, but I've not had a Cheeto in years. And I tell you what, these cheese curl things. So I had to.
They're very good.
I plowed through the bag and this is the clip. It was left. So the Cheetos are gone.
I'm surprised your fingers aren't orange.
Orange. I went to the store and I got in trouble because I picked up 2 bags. So it was buy 1 bag of Cheetos, get 1 free.
You almost have to, right?
Well, you have to get the free one. Otherwise, you're just leaving money on the table. So Richard said, why are you buying that junk food? He's not a junk food eater. And I said, well, it's buy 1, get 1 free. So, you got 2 bags of Cheetos.
I'm the same, by the way. I am totally the same. And if it's bad,
would you leave it? You're not going to leave it, right? Why would you leave it there?
Well,
give it to somebody.
If it's 2 for the price of 1, why would you just buy 1?
You're going to buy one and you get a free one. It was $4.73 value. So even if I donated to a food bank, which I'm not going to, but I thought if somebody stops by, you dump Cheetos in a bowl. Everybody laughed at me. You know, I used to, so like with potato chips. Our friend Carl would come by. He loved potato chips, and Mark would never let him really have them. So every time he came, I dumped some in a bowl. And I learned this from Joyce, our neighbor. She always puts out potato chips, and everybody always laughs. Isn't that quaint? Isn't that something?
And
the Brits do that. First thing they go. Everybody loves a chip. People love a potato chip, don't you think? So...
You know what takes the place sometimes, and you turned me on to this, Aldi pita crackers.
Oh, those are great. My favorite thing. You can eat them plain without. You can eat them without the.
Exactly. They're
cheese.
Neutral. They're light. You can. Well, sadly, that's one of those things I now have to buy 2 or 3 boxes at a time because I think they're like $2.29. They're not that expensive, but they're perfect size. They have a bit of a taste to them, and they have some sea salt on them, right?
Yes, they do it, and they also have you've probably seen they have a garlic and chive one or something. There's other flavors I don't like.
No,
I just like the plain one with the salt.
You turned me on to those, the turkey in the tube, the frozen ground turkey, which is amazingly inexpensive, perfect for burgers or making chili or something. Yeah, no, I'm now Mr. Aldi. In fact, we're going later in the day.
Well, listen, if you're going today, look, because they only come out this time of year for a short time. They have a strawberry rhubarb pie that you have to bake. So it will be in the cooler, like the freezer section, cooler section.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
They only come out once a year for about 10 days.
Strawberry rhubarb.
There's a strawberry rhubarb, and I believe there's a cherry. But I've gotten the strawberry rhubarb one, and it's I think it's $8.99. and you bake it, and it's delicious. It reminded me of your mom, because your mom had said she used to make strawberry rhubarb.
Oh, Tim, my children knew nothing of store-bought goods. And then Tim says to me, what about that Intimates box I saw going out the back door?
Every time you walked in, you smelled the fresh smell of cookies
Tim,
baking and all
my
those
children
things.
knew nothing of store-bought
goods. And peach cobbler, everything. So listen. So if you're going to Aldi, get that. And there was something else I was going to tell you about at Aldi that somebody was saying to get. There's the cheese with the little cranberry and cheddar cheese.
Very good.
I like it, dish. And there was something else.
I found something at Aldi that I love, and I'm sure people have seen it. It's an oblong, like a rectangle shaped thing of sharp cheddar cheese, and it's cut for crackers.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, it's already sliced. It's so perfect. You open it up, maybe you have 2 little pieces, you put it back in the refrigerator. It's a great snack thing.
Oh, we buy those. We have 3 or 4 in the refrigerator all times. Yeah, that's a great snack late at night or something. You just reach in, grab a couple of those.
I have not tried any of the Aldi Greek yogurt, though.
I do I've done the sour cream, and but I haven't done the yogurt, and I've done some other cottage cheese I've done, which is good.
How's their cottage cheese? Fine?
It's great. And the butter is $2 cheaper than anyone else's butter. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So, but no, I like Aldi. You can't get everything there, but you can get a lot.
And if you want to if you want to shop Aldi, Amish.
Aldi.
I just love your dad. The Amish.
The Amish.
The Amish folk. It's almost like Tim should put out a pamphlet or do something online like tips to shop Aldi, because you do need to know. He taught us how to go through the store. You got to look at things carefully. Got to read the packaging, and you find equivalents. Like, you may not get the brand thing, but you're going to get something equal to it. And like Bob does, Brie there now. We've been able to duplicate every cheese we bought at a grocery store. We get it at Aldi.
Well, those pita chips, they have the same exact ones at Trader Joe's for double the price.
Double the price, yep.
So it's just boxed differently, and sometimes you can find those things. And the marinara sauce, I think it's 99 cents or $1.19.
I got one.
It's great.
We were at this grocery store the other day, and I saw Nutella came out with something new.
Oh,
yeah, you all know Nutella. It's a cookie, and what it starts out, it's a cookie that's filled with Nutella, and it's perfect amount of Nutella. The cookie's very good. Yeah, it's like $5-6 a bag for 20 pieces. We're in Aldi the other day, and Bob goes, look at that. And it looked almost like the same packaging. And it was their version of the Nutella thing, half the price. And guess what? We both tasted the cookies. Bob goes, what do you want to bet it comes off the exact same line and goes into a different bag? Right? Does that make sense?
I'm sure. And they've got some pistachio filled thing. Pistachio's having a moment now. I don't know if you've noticed. Costco, everybody's doing pistachio something or other. And they've got some pistachio chocolate, which is quite good at Aldi. And so look for that too in the specialty, at the end cap.
Not the Isle of Shame.
That's not in the Isle of Shame. No, it's at the.
It's
either in the end cap or with the candy. So
I saw the toy you mentioned. I saw the toys you mentioned, by the way. The Aldi miniature grocery store.
With the rainbow.
You know what I'm talking about with the figures and stuff? Like, you could buy Aldi toys that look like Aldi. Oh, okay. Anyway.
So, Mr. Nash, without further ado, what caught your eye this week?
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
Mine's a weird one, and I had to do a little R&D on this, but it's real. And the headline that caught my eye was this: a pro-Trump Christian group wants to put a cross on the moon. Thank you. Because I did the same thing. Cross on the Moon Coalition says they are on a spiritual mission to send a cross to the lunar surface to consecrate the heavens and remind humanity that God is the king of the universe. Okay. Yeah. I came across. So then this guy on Reddit. So I found the website. It's Cross on the Moon. You can go there. It shows a little animation of a probe flying to the moon and landing. And then it shows the cross coming up and opening up on the moon. I just thought, wow. So this guy on Reddit kind of sums it all up. He said, I came across the Cross on the Moon Coalition researching Freedom 250, the Trump-backed organization that redirected funding, I don't know if many people know this, from the bipartisan group planning America's anniversary celebrations and turned the event into a MAGA morass of corporate conflicts of interest, questionable conservative retellings of history, and right-wing Christian nationalism. The Cross on the Moon is led by Justin Park. Park explained in an interview with the Davenport, Iowa-based Catholic Messenger that this was part of a plan to get in front of the future. This is great. It's kind of a culmination of the skills that God's given me and the vision, Park said. Most people don't think about space every day, but I do. I read the gospel as much as I can, but I also read a lot of space news. I think that we're going to be living in space within a generation or two, and we definitely want to get out in front of this and lead with our virtues and our values. And that really starts with Jesus Christ. Putting a cross on the moon kind of sanctifies the lunar surface, and it's our best foot forward. And hopefully we'll recreate a culture based on biblical teachings. So this guy said, I asked Park about the political aspect of his coalition. He told me that the group is definitely aligned with Trump's efforts to bring more prayer to America. I have volunteered at multiple Freedom 250 events and applaud his participation honoring our Savior Jesus Christ. The idea is really to find a big space advocate who hasn't found the Lord yet. Ideally, we could want to convert Elon Musk. The world would be just such a whole lot better if we could evangelize Musk and then make him into an evangelist and then make him put the cross on the moon. At the end of this, the guy who interviewed this guy says, Dear God, so sadly misguided. A cross on the moon? Like, I thought we have treaties about this crap. Like, it's not something you just throw a cross on. And by the way, who cares? It's going to be up on the moon. Like, you can't
I guess
see it.
if you're living there, I guess, right? I don't know. It'd be something to go see.
They might as well try to land the cross on the moon by where Neil Armstrong landed, right? You might as well start turning to a tourist attraction now.
Well, you remember the Russians complained about, because we put the American flag up there. So the American flag is on the moon.
Tim. Yeah.
And they said it was Reagan, although I don't quite understand the timeline, and I've yet to really hear where the quote came from. But Reagan, it sounds like something Reagan would have said, but in some discussions with the Russians, and they were talking about the moon, they said, you can't claim that with the American flag. And he said, take it down. That
was like, how was your talk with Tutu, Bishop Tutu?
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. How'd your call go with Bishop Tutu? So.
I mean, at least Reagan wasn't draping everything in fake gold, right?
No. Oh, my God. Can you imagine how long it's going to take to declutter? And did you see the signs outside now, too, that say the Oval Office, the West Wing?
The East Wing, yeah. Well, the East Wing's gone. But
so tacky. So tacky. See, Liberace's happy. They said he'd be the only one who was happy about the
I did see that he did something to two statues that were leading into a bridge or to some part of DC. They were originally gilded in gold, but they've been corroded. But he re-gilded them. They look beautiful. If they were originally that way, I don't mind. But someone said, "Hey, that was $14 million. You didn't need to spend, right?"
Well, someone did say that. I guess they said that the administrations, Republican and Democrat, over the years have neglected, since they've taken over, I guess I don't know what it's called, managerial aspects of the capital
of the city,
DC from the city. That fountains weren't working. There were statues that weren't cleaned. I don't disagree with that. I think if they were able to clean that stuff up and get it running, or get someone said for the first time, somebody on MS Now said for the first time in 15 years, the fountain near our house is running. It looks beautiful.
Yep, I know that fountain. Yeah.
So if there's those sort of things, I think that's great. But some of the other stuff, this Arc de Trump and some other things that just don't seem to be, they're out of scale for the city. So.
And how about the Janine Pirro dropping the case against the Olympian for vandalizing the pool, because now it turns out that it was a shoddy construction. We all knew this, right?
We all knew this, but Trump's still laying down that somebody went in there with a knife and cut it.
Loves lying. They said
she's a short termer now. They said she had to do a jug of white wine on Friday night to get her Apparently, they say she likes the liquid, allegedly. So yeah. So mine's also. So I love the cross on the moon, John. It's and probably Musk. They're thinking they'll get a free ride in SpaceX, right? Isn't he?
They should really send the guy that's doing the cross on the moon to Waterbury, Connecticut, so he could look at Holy Land and get an idea for a cross on. Yeah,
just move Holy Land up there.
Yeah.
So isn't there a rosary made out of cannonballs?
There is, yeah, and that's the one where my mom, when I was a kid, she was reading the paper and she shovels, and she said to my dad, "Oh, Steve, someone was raped in the catacombs at Holy Land." There you go.
Where the buses would come up from New York City to come see Holy Land. What a disappointment! You're on that bus all that time and pulling into that shit.
And what you see is Jerusalem is recreated out of old water heaters, oatmeal boxes, hubcaps, rosary made out of bowling balls and cannonballs. No, it was cannonballs. I remember we went up there. Tim, I remember the time we went up there. I think we went with Barry. You were literally almost speechless. You were in such a state of shock. You were either laughing or silent because you couldn't believe what you were looking at.
Well, it was the fact that buses would come from all over to go there. I thought, what did they do here? And Waterbury is no gem. I mean, as you know,
the draw?
And Waterbury, right? So
yeah.
Anyway, mine is a Christian story too, John. I guess the Christians are having a moment like pistachio. So mine is and I laughed at this headline. It was Christian food banks' shelves are empty after pastor rejects supplies from LGBTQ allies. So this came from the LGBTQ nation. So West Virginia Food Bank, which operates, it's run by Pastor Alvin Christian, and it's in Bluefield, West Virginia, and they provide services to 800 families daily in Virginia and West Virginia and Virginia counties. And there's a picture of him in this article, and all the shelves and the freezers, everything's bare. There's nothing in them. And so they asked him why. So this is his quote. "To let you know the reason why we're in this position is because I've done some research."
I've done some. They did it for
I'm reading it.
Okay.
I'm reading it as is. This is as is, John. It's on Facebook. "Because I've done the research. I made the phone calls. I talked to proper people," said Pastor Alvin Christian in a since deleted Facebook Live video. "Are you all tied in or partners with LGBTQ or whatever? And if they said yes, I done some more research and found out that they're part of the gay rights movement. So I'm not taking any of their food." So he notes that the food bank has chosen to not take any food from any organization that would either help or had ties to or supportive of anything LGBTQ. So if the ABC grocery stores were going to give him food, and if he found out they had domestic partnership benefits or they supported DEI, nothing, you're not going to take it because it goes to the abomination of LGBTQ people, as he called them. It says he notes that he got a lot of messages and concerns wondering why we haven't given food out. So they haven't given any food out for months now. He says, "As you can see, our cupboards are empty, our freezers are empty. We have nothing in the warehouse." And so he decided he was going to do a GoFundMe. And to date, he's received 0 donations. So the GoFundMe got nothing. So he said that some people are calling this Christian bigotry, but he says no. He wants to make it clear. He said, Pastor Christian said, "I'm making a clear connection between my faith and my decision to reject food supplies from organizations that support the LGBTQ community. As a man of God and standing in faith with God, I refuse to receive food from nobody that is tied into that. I make a stand right here, right now. That's why we've got no food here, because I will not be part of the gay rights movement, because Feeding America is partnered up with them, and I'll not be part of that, and I'm not going to work with them." So Feeding America is a big nonprofit nationwide, and they're a network for food banks. So what happens is they're a bit of a clearinghouse. They'll gather from big corporate sponsors food, and then they'll disperse it. But they don't sell food. They give it to these different food banks.
Donate
but he's donated. So he goes on about Jesus and the Bible interpretation and everybody's and the gay abomination. But then he says, I don't discriminate.
Okay.
Because they asked him. They said, well, you're really punishing the needy. I don't discriminate. He says, I'll serve anybody. But I'm not going to take food from people who supply or work with LGBTQ. So they did say, as a sidebar, I just thought this was interesting. In a more serious note, they did say that there is high food insecurity with LGBTQ adults. Did you know that?
Yeah, I've heard that.
So they said 22% of LGBTQ plus adults live in poverty and are disproportionately affected by food insecurity. And it said some of them are too embarrassed to go to food banks or whatever because they're afraid of the pushback or harassment or fear of judgment. And so they talked about there actually really is a need to help supply everybody and take care of everybody, which is what good Christians are supposed to do, right? Mm-hmm. So he goes on saying that he's not going to take anything. And so they asked him again, is he sure he doesn't want to take any food from Feeding America because these 800 families have been doing without? He says he posted another video saying he might have made a mistake.
Oh.
And it was a misunderstanding. I'm not refusing donations, but I'm refusing to purchase from organizations where money will go to LGBTQ groups. So they countered back and said, that's not what Feeding America is. It's a nonprofit. They don't sell food, and you're turning food down away from them. So essentially, he's full of shit.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's trying to operate this food bank, but he's taken a stand of he doesn't want anything to do with LGBTQ, and the cupboards are empty. Poor thing. So
he's right up there, Tim, with first class air, huh?
Well, it's the contradictory. These I always think taking these videos like this or whenever they do those, I forget who the people are that go around with these Trump rallies and they talk to people. I think if all of the liberal arts colleges are getting a bad rap saying that education's not good or liberal arts education isn't good, videos of this sort of thing for the lack of critical thinking, that's what you get at a liberal. If I was we should do a whole campaign for liberal arts colleges. You show the clip of somebody saying something like this, the idiocy, and then say the importance of critical thinking.
Did we talk about the guy that someone came up to at a MAGA rally, he had the hat on, and he said, why do you like Trump so much? Because he sent me a big check. And the reporter says, but the checks that President Biden sent out, were bigger than Trump's. Well, Trump signed my check. That's what won me over. He signed my check. How do you even, right? Anyway.
Yeah. No. Or, I forget, I remember there was one Yahoo they're talking to. It was something really foul about Hillary. It's like F Hillary or something, but spelled out. And he was talking about how Trump was a good person and treated people with respect. And they said, well, what's your shirt say? Oh yeah, well, then he realizes the whole thing was just, again, there's no thought.
Nope.
There's no nothing. I mean, I saw one the other day, and she, this woman was convinced that Joe Biden is in Guantanamo now. He thinks he and the Hillary and Clintons and everybody have been sent to Guantanamo, and Trump has him under there in house arrest.
Wow. Okay.
So anyway, I don't know what you can do with it, John. I don't know where you go with it, but
well, you can't. What was the line that people always say? You can't fix stupid.
Yeah.
And my mom, teacher for years,
she hated the word stupid.
You don't ever use that word, honey. I don't want you to use it. But unfortunately, I think it, if the word fits the occasion, right? I can't think of any other word.
I think it's a good word.
Yeah.
Stupid. He's stupid.
Yeah, he's stupid.
Stupid. So, Mr. Nash, we've got a business birthday this week.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
So, we had dinner with Patrick and Howard. I was telling you earlier before we came on, and we were talking about the business birthday. They like the business birthday segment. And Howard's originally from Kansas City, or from Kansas. And that was going to be the business birthday. And it was the guy who, of course, I'm going to forget his name, but he was the founder of these multiplex cinemas.
Like AMC or something like that?
Yeah. But then I went back and found out that we did that in either 2019 or 2020.
Oh.
I thought, oh, God. So I had to go find a new birthday. And I said to Patrick, it's been harder for me to find these because three of the sources I used to use have kind of dried up. He said, well, why don't you try AI? Which I hadn't thought about.
Howard, you're the best.
Howard and Patrick. So Patrick said, why don't you use AI? And I tried using AI, and it did give me today's birthday, but it was very selective. Like it took business very literally. So then I had to add inventor, entrepreneur, all this other stuff.
Ah, okay.
And then Patrick said, and have you ever thought of spicing it up a bit? And I, like porn stars and stuff. I said, oh, we have done that before, but sometimes they were a little bit racy. But
it's a business, right?
Yeah. So maybe we'll throw in once in a while when it becomes hard to find or we have duplicates. But today, it's Reid Hoffman. Reid Garrett Hoffman. He's born August 5th, 1967. Happy 59th. He is the co-founder and former executive chairman of LinkedIn. Now, another thing we missed. How tough was this?
Totally.
I used to be a recruiter. It's just a resume online, isn't it?
When they first started,
it turned into Facebook a little bit.
Yeah, Tim, it used to be something different than Facebook, and now it's just Facebook for people in their office, I guess. Have you ever
Facebook for office people?
Well, and there's a lot of performative posting on there.
Woo!
You're like, congratulate me, I got an award. Oh, you got the award for the best use of paper clips in the office. Yay! Sorry, I'm being very cynical, but
I went into my LinkedIn and I purposely made it very vague. I was getting bombarded, as probably you were, and still get stuff. Just everybody's trying to sell you something.
But no one walks into your inbox with a job offer.
No, there's none of that. Nobody says, oh, you might be good for this or that or whatever. And I've noticed people are not putting as much stuff on as they used to, or they're trying to manage it a little different. So we'll talk about that later on, because we'll have a discussion in Shop Talk about the cover letter being dead and how AI affects that. And I'll share some stories there. But Reid Hoffman, as I said, co-founder of LinkedIn, he originally started out, he went to college at Stanford and majored in cognitive science. And he joined Apple Computer when he got right out of school and worked on something called eWorld. You're probably familiar with that.
Don't have any memory of that.
It was an early attempt at building an online service. And what happened is AOL acquired eWorld in 1996. And so from there, when that was acquired, he then went and worked at Fujitsu before co-founding a company that was called socialnet.com. And that was focused on online dating and matching up people with similar interests. So if you wanted to, not necessarily hook up sites, but say you were a cyclist or a golfer or a skier and you wanted to find other people to do that sort of thing.
Community building. Yeah.
Community building. So that ended up being sold as well. So he ended up working for PayPal. So he left SocialNet in 2000 and went over and worked at PayPal and became the COO there. And then Elon Musk came in, and he was somewhat demoted to be a development job or whatever. And that's when he left there, and he founded LinkedIn with two former colleagues from SocialNet. It launched May 5th, 2003 as one of the first business-oriented online social networks. Peter Thiel was also a colleague of his at PayPal, and he's the first one to invest. So he invested $500,000 into LinkedIn.
And he's made a ton.
Yeah, his stake right now is worth about $2.3 billion, they said, not including some other benefits and so forth. Microsoft proposed to acquire LinkedIn in 2016 for $26.2 billion. $26.2 billion.
$2 billion. Yeah.
So he's, but he's no longer on LinkedIn, as all these people do. They've all seemed to go on lots of boards and do lots of things. This guy seems to be prolific, though, and he's now in the AI space, artificial intelligence. And he's doing all kinds of, it lists countless companies he's involved with AI. He launched Manus AI, which is an AI-enabled drug discovery startup. Siddhartha, something, 25 million. He's a big angel investor. He's been spending a lot of his money doing these different AI and LLMs. What are they? A large language
model. That's models. The AI.
Yeah. So he was behind crypto. It goes on and on. He's written a bunch of books. Friends with Zuckerberg. Friends with Thiel, as I said. And then it pops in toward the end that, guess what, John? Guess who else he was very close with?
Is it guessable?
Yeah. In the news a lot. Very close. Very, very close. Close confidant. Very involved. Looking for money.
Epstein.
No. So this Epstein, I'll tell you about this Jeffrey Epstein. I am sure, and I am 99. If I was a spy, here's what I don't understand about Epstein. He had his fingers in any place there was money, right? In any sort of top level higher ed group. And I am sure when you think about all the top levels of government and business in the United States and in the UK, the Russians were behind this. Epstein knew Melania before, and it supposedly introduced him to Trump. I am sure Putin, this was one way, Epstein had to be paid off or something to infiltrate business and government in the Western world, particularly with the UK and the US. When you think about royalty.
And how did he do it? He did it through greed and avarice, power and money, right?
Power and money and access. The other pig, pussy. Right? I mean, he's.
but Tim, you don't pick up your pussy and your paycheck in the same spot.
In the same place. Well, you do. So Hoffman. So he encountered Jeffrey Epstein through MIT Media Lab. So Reid Hoffman was doing some work, or was involved with MIT in the Media Lab, and he was looking for donations. And Epstein shows up. This is 2013, and. So he meets with Elon Musk and Zuckerberg. So it's Epstein, Musk, and Zuckerberg. Now, I thought none of them knew one another.
Ditto.
And, so Hoffman then made a trip to the private island for a weekend.
Oh, boy. The island.
Claimed the purpose of the meeting was to raise funds for MIT.
Okay.
And he did say he regretted interacting with Epstein.
Oh, they all do, don't they?
Yeah. And then Pam Bondi,
Pam Bondi, the former Attorney General of the United States.
Yeah, Bondi, former, yep. She says in her Senate hearing that Epstein's closest confidant was Reid Hoffman.
Oh, my God.
Whether this is true or not, right? This is all chatter. What I don't understand is, how did our intelligence service, maybe they have, but how did people not sniff all this out? Don't you think there's too much smoke?
So
don't you think there's an awful lot of smoke?
Yeah, and there's a fire somewhere, and you're not a conspiracy theorist, are you? You never have been.
But I do think the Russians, allegedly, I'll be dead tomorrow. I think the Russians are behind this. There's something because he does have connections with having all this money. No one seems to know where the money came from.
Captains of industry, people in politics, people in
higher ed. It's Harvard, it's MIT, it's big universities with big donors funding. I mean, Epstein, royalty.
Yeah.
The French government, the UK government, some Asian
Prince
governments.
Andrew, Bill Gates, and the list
Clinton,
goes on. And now we
Donald
have Reid
Trump.
Hoffman. So there's a couple of
Zuckerberg,
Mark
Elon Musk.
Yeah. So there's a couple of online folks who believe that our intelligence services knew about this, but the list of people he has either compromised or drawn close to him is so extensive. and so much wired into our entire economy and our political system that revealing it would be disastrous.
Could collapse everything, which is what someone like a Putin would want, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or the Chinese or something. But I just think, I mean, I've always said that I thought Melania was a Russian spy, but I'm convinced of that too. There's no way she's picking Trump. So anyway, he's denied that there was anything there, regret his association with Epstein. And he says he's a big supporter. He was a big supporter of Kamala and Biden, and also funded the E. Jean Carroll lawsuit against Trump.
Okay.
So I guess when you have a lot of money, John, you could just stick around, do things.
Another article I read in the Atlantic about billionaires and millionaires. The author was like, they don't live the way you live. They don't see the world the way you see it. And it took me a while. By the end of the article, I was like, I think this guy's right. Like the minute you hit a certain point, you don't have to worry about things. You can check out, right?
Yeah.
That was a good business birthday. And I was racking my brain to wonder out, and I thought, could it really be Epstein? But it was Epstein. All right,
yeah,
folks,
the amount of the arms of Epstein are, as you said, I
octopus.
guess,
tentacles everywhere. Like the fact that he had, and that island. You know, the plane. It's not Fantasy Island. All right, folks, we're going to take that was Tattoo, right? Mr. Rourke and Tattoo. I still love that. That was a block on Saturdays. Love Boat and Fantasy Island. My sister Laura and I were sucked into that.
And then Love American Style was on at 11, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Love American Style.
Love America. Truer than the red, white, and blue. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, as Tim mentioned at the top of the show, the cover letter is dead. We're not all dancing on the grave of the cover letter yet, but it might be good news. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Focus Group with Tim and John. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com. They're all business, except when they're not. It's The Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Focus Group. Tim Bennett here, as always, with my good friend and co-host, Mr. John T. Nash. It's now time for our segment called Shop Talk. And this Shop Talk this week comes from Fast Company. And it's a very short article, but John and I can pontificate about it, of course. The cover letter, so that
you bet.
The headline, the headline is, the cover letter is officially dead. AI has created a new job hunting paradox. So AI, artificial intelligence, has created a new job hunting paradox. And so when I initially thought, well, they're going to talk about cover letters here, and they don't necessarily talk about them, other than they mention that with the advent of AI, that people are applying for jobs differently, which I guess will then preclude. I don't know what
he stated it later in the piece. The way the article kind of flowed, the interviewer asked this guy about AI in the workplace and AI in the job searching thing. And
right.
So now candidates are having AI write their resumes. And he said at one point, we now know that everybody's having AI write their cover letter. So the cover letters become useless because it's not them writing it. It's not from a point of passion, or I encountered this problem in my life and I think your company fixes it. I want to be with your business. I don't know Tim, how many cover letters do you think you've written in your life?
Ooh, over 100, I'm sure.
I was just going to say it has to exceed 100. And you know what? That is a really crazy number when you think about it, right?
And you spend a lot of time on them.
Yes.
When you think about it, when you have to
if you
type
care.
them. Right. And I found when I was doing recruiting, or even when I worked at a corporation, it was nice to have the cover letter. I skimmed it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I didn't put the attention into the cover letter that the person did in writing it, I'm sure. And you'll pick things out the first paragraph or whatever, see if jobs match up. But so many times, and you know this even with your agency, if somebody came in to interview, something about the resume piqued your interest, but it was really about a connection. Could you see yourself working with this person, or would this person work within the culture of your agency? And so that connection is important. What I think, you hit this on the head with, if AI is writing cover letters, now you know they're writing resumes. There was a woman I worked with. I know you said not stupid, but she may have been the stupidest woman I've ever worked with. Stupidest person. It doesn't have to be a woman.
There you go.
I shouldn't have said it was a woman, because now somebody will look. One of the dumbest people I've ever worked with, and I just
we're on a downhill slope.
I just saw their posting. They are posting now, like crazy, all of a sudden on LinkedIn, and I thought, oh, let me go see what they're up to. You would have thought they invented the wheel. And I looked, and it was written in such language, and the long dashes that
M dash, the M dash,
and credit for things that they had no involvement in. And it was obvious that they probably have taken 4 or 5 resumes of other people and told AI to put it together, and she created this great background. And I thought, if she ever got asked 1 or 2 questions beyond, she'd fall apart in the interview, right? Because if you're claiming you've done all this stuff, and then you go in to talk to somebody and you can't explain it or actually talk about it. So I see the danger of this, and I get crazy. You and I have another peer that seems to have found the AI software as well, and is posting this crazy stuff. It's so obvious it's not in their voice, right?
Yeah, it's completely. He however he constructs the prompt, he gets what he gets, and he publishes it. You know, this article. Yeah, this article about which when I began reading like Tim, I thought this is going to all be about the cover letter, but it was merely a mention. But what he really focused on in this short piece in Fast Company was AI, and the interviewer said to him, how do candidates convey any of this knowledge of AI to a potential employer? And he said, if you're not using it at work now, start using it in your personal life with one of the free chat bots like Claude or ChatGPT. And he said, because someday you may be asked, show me a project you used AI to either initiate, complete, or take from start to finish. I did think that was sort of a fascinating point of view. I'm not sure how, like as a designer, you and I as advertising guys, we've been using AI now for, well, probably over 2 years. When you said to me one day, you got to go to ChatGPT, let's see what it does. We've done campaigns for clients that are either going to happen or not happen, where the mock-ups have been almost completely created by AI. And I should say, maybe we had the photograph that we were given from somebody, but we put something in and we came up with headlines that we liked, and headlines that could have been actually written by a copy editor, the kind of copy editors we usually use. So I thought that part of the article was actually pretty smart to say that, but here's the thing, to say that, at least be able to point to a project that you did and say, I did this with AI, here's what I did, here's how it helped me. Still, though, the article left me scratching my head, because he kind of leaves it hanging. If the cover letters are written by AI and the resumes are being tailored by AI, how do you even know that the prospective candidate you're looking at is even remotely similar to what you're reading, right?
Well, and that's what I was saying about this person that I saw that was posting all this stuff. And I thought, wow, on paper and the profile, I thought, if you were looking for this specific thing, they'd be perfect. But I thought, if she shows up and starts interviewing, it's going to fall apart right away, and then you're going to be pissed.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I think that's what's happening, and I don't know if there's a way you can fix this. I mean, I guess people can fudge resumes. You can fudge some things or fudge some dates, I suppose. But to actually claim you're doing things that you didn't do, I guess it comes down to the company or the recruiter to then suss that out and figure out, okay, this one but what a waste of time. And they said that's the biggest issue, right? With a tight job market or something, it's just clogging up inboxes with people just applying to jobs or trying to go through stuff.
Do you want to hear a heartbreaker? I was reading, it might have been in the New York Times, a young guy, 36 or 42, I forget his age, but he was in his late 30s, early 40s, stopped looking for a job altogether. He'd been unemployed, laid off over 9 months ago. Take a wild guess how many custom resumes and cover letters he claims to have sent out. Wild guess. So just pick a number.
Yeah, I'll say, because it makes it sound like it was high. 300? Oh.
You're very close. 600.
What? That's a lot. 600
applications, resumes, and cover letters. And the guy says in this interview, he said, what's the point? What's the point of even, he said he actually would get up at 9 and work till 5, scouring LinkedIn, Indeed, trying to network with friends, trying to get a personal interview. He's just going to not do it for a while. And then he says he's lucky that his wife is working. They have some savings and he could take a hiatus and kind of just re-examine where he needs to be for this kind of thing. But my God, it's like, I don't remember, Tim, I remember getting out of college, getting a box of number 10 envelopes, having your one resume duplicated at a copy shop, and then you would scour the one.
Maybe an off gray or an ivory color, make it look a little different. You would get to
choose the color of the paper. Yes. Yeah. I used to use like a beige, like a parchmenty paper.
Yeah, but there was one resume that was done, and then you would type your cover letter, and you took great pain into do it correctly and make sure
address
spellings and and then send them out, and hopefully you got some calls. I had gotten some calls and interviews. I was trying to think if I got I was lucky. My first job out of college I got through on-campus recruiting. I was
wondering, that was with LTV, was on campus?
Yeah, LTV Steel. Yeah. That was a funny, my economics professor told me I was crazy to go to the interview.
I think you learned a lot there.
And, because I think he said the steel business is going out. Of course, he was correct. I mean, they were bankrupt in 2 years or whatever. But the woman who ran the career center is like, no, this is a big deal. This is a large corporation. They very rarely, you're lucky you're getting an interview. They usually go to big universities with, blah, blah, blah. And I listened to my economics professor and I didn't show. I didn't show for the interview. And my phone rings and it was the career center, and she said, you had a 1:00 interview. I said, I didn't feel like going. She said, well, somebody else could have gone. She said, but somebody was out sick, so there is a slot at the end of the day, and you're coming up here. Don't embarrass me. You said you were going to do this. This is an obligation. I was a senior in college. I still remember I picked dirty clothes out of the laundry, pair of khakis, wrinkled. Didn't put a suit on. I was furious. I go up there, and there was this fast-talking HR young guy full of piss and vinegar. He goes, so you didn't want to come to the interview, huh? And I said, no, I wasn't interested. He goes, oh. He said, well, here's who else came for the interview. And he shows me the list of all the people. He said, what do you think of this list? I said, I really don't have much to say about it. He said, well, they all had something to say about you. I said, really? He said, yeah. So tell me why you deserve the job over any of these people. So I said, here we go. So
Did
I
you
went down
really?
each person. Oh, yeah. I said, well, I said, this one here. I said, well, we're, Saturday mornings, he's standing in front of the library waiting for the door to open. I said, he's no fun. And I'm going through the list of people. Don't you know I get called back?
Yeah. Well,
and I ended up getting the job. And
you exhibited, though. You exhibited something that they wanted desperately, and you know what you did, right? You thought on your feet, and you were honest, and because you didn't really care so much, you ended up doing exactly what they wanted for that job, right?
Yeah, no, it was, and I did. You're right, I did learn a lot there, and they sent me up to. I mean, there's so many funny stories about me interviewing there. I lost my voice. I mean, it was all kinds of crazy things that happened, but. And I was shocked I got the job. I mean, it really was big university kids that had metallurgical backgrounds. I was the only liberal arts major they hired. And So
Our career center I had a bunch of interviews when I was at Binghamton. One of them was with Lord & Taylor. Department store.
For a buyer, probably for a buyer, right? Or merchandiser or something.
You're
or a buyer.
an assistant buyer. You're very close. So I had the on-campus interview, and I was kind of lackadaisical. I'm like, yeah. I got picked to be flown to the city, and I had my second interview at Lord & Taylor, and it was really cool because all their offices were on the outside of the building because they had to maximize floor space for retail. I had a fun day. Since I didn't want the job, I had a day in the city. Most of it was Lord & Taylor. And at the end of the day, this woman says to me, she goes, "Oh, we've had so much fun with you. You're going to fit in very well here." And I had a friend named Stacy who also was going for the job. And I get the letter about a week later that they offered me the position at Lord & Taylor. And she did not get a position offered to her. And she was furious because she's like, "You didn't even want this job." "You don't want Lord & Taylor." I'm like, "No, I don't want Lord & Taylor. I'm a graphic designer." She was really pissed about that. But I think I should remember this in future. There's a thing about being casual and being authentic that really does sell, doesn't it? The LTV Steel story really cements that for me. And by the way, the recruiter, ooh, what a games player.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, these people had something to say about you.
Yeah, well, they had something to say about you. Yeah,
what do you have to say
I
about
asked everybody.
them?
Yeah, asked everybody why you deserve the job over the other people. And I thought that was, you're right about that. I never, this is something new I've learned. I didn't know you got an offer from Lord & Taylor.
I'm
surprised you didn't take it. Did you not, because you were determined you were going to do graphic design.
Yeah, I wanted to be a designer.
Which I guess you could have done there eventually.
Eventually, yeah. But
we don't know that at that age. You don't know that at that age.
No. I would have been working in a store on Fifth Avenue
probably paid you $12,000. Probably paid. Those jobs paid nothing. $12,000.
The intro salary was $14,500.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Because I got a job offer in PR, which was part of my major in communications in DC, which I really wanted. It was for a lobbying firm, and they were paying $12,500.
Yep.
And there was just no way.
These are average salaries for the time, right?
Yeah. And no way I could live in DC, though, I thought, for that sort of money. And the steel company offered me $26,000 with a car.
Wow.
So, it was on Easy Street. So
now, going back to the article that was the foundation of Shop Talk, I'm not sure what this has to do with AI, except to say that, to recap, this expert that was interviewed in this article believes that the cover letter is dead because if it's going to be written by AI, there's no part of you in there that can rise to the top, and also feels that organizations that are hiring need to do a better job of implementing how they use AI to sift through the resumes that they get and the job applications, because he thinks there's a disconnect. There's all these jobs available and all these people that want jobs, but it's not happening. So who do you blame? I blame the Holly Ramers. That's a good point. I blame the Holly Ramers of the world. Monday morning, delete everything in the inbox.
Delete everything. You've worked a lot with AI. Do you think you could take somebody's resume, if you were sitting and you said this obviously was done by AI, I wonder if you could take the AI and plug it in, or take the resume and plug it into AI and say, was this done through one of the
clients, like the chatbots? That's a great question. I wonder if you can. It's a really good. I think that if you did that 2 years ago, it would be hard. But nowadays, they're pretty darn sophisticated. I have to say, very sophisticated. I think that would be interesting. But I would assume that everybody's doing it now, right?
Yeah, no, I would too. I do know companies now with these are trying to, particularly they're using Reddit for it, to try to get information out about their companies through chat so that it picks it up. Because we still get cross-pollinated with the other focus group from the Bulwark.
The Bulwark. On the resume front, just a little piece of advice for folks: if you are using AI, Claude, I think Chat may do this as well, but Claude has a feature called Projects, and you create a folder, and you can put anything you want in this folder. You could put in a sample of 6 of your emails to people, personal letters, articles that you find fascinating. You could do whatever you want to put in there. You put in there. Then you write your first prompt, and you say, based on the information that I've given you in this project folder, create a resume for me. You could even put your past resumes in there. I'm going to tell you right now, the result is a touch scary. because what comes back could have been written by you, because it picks up the tone of your writing and your interests, and it does it for you in the little wheel spinning maybe 4 minutes, and you're like, wow. But then
Which
you
would
have
have
to do
taken hours, right? It would have taken you hours to do that.
but then you have to do the hard work
of
of editing it and making it sound like you actually wrote it, which could take some time. But the heavy lifting has been done. It actually did something in your tone of voice, with the words that you would use. Well, Tim, we're at one end of our career. So if I were in my 20s, I don't know what I'd be thinking right now about all this. I really don't. Especially if, back to this job search cover letter AI thing, it's so self-defeating, right?
Yeah, and you have to. No, it's self-defeating, and the world has changed so much. I mean, the idea of reading. I talked to a kid who just graduated college. He told me how he didn't read at all in college, hates to read. It's like, okay. So I don't know how you get around it. I said, but he wants to do contract law. I said, that's reading. You're going to have to read contracts.
Yeah. And analyze.
Anyway, yeah. So.
All right, folks. We lit a little off the rails there, but that's the focus group for you. And we want to thank you for joining us. We know you have, well, literally thousands of podcasts millions of podcasts to choose from, and we're very glad that you choose ours every week. I want to remind everybody, we say this all year long, but it's exceptionally important to remember this during summer driving season. Don't text and drive, arrive alive. I see it all the time. I don't know how people could put the phone on the wheel and look down, and then, just to remind you, when you look down and start reading, you are no longer driving the car, you're reading. So
yeah.
Anyway,
oops.
Be safe, folks, and we'll see you here on the focus group next week.
It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.